All right. We're holding Mamish on the top of Daf Lamed. We're middle.
The back can't hear you.
Here he is. Adam's here, talking about people in the back.
A little louder for the Olam.
The Gemara says on Daf Chavtes and Beis that Rav said two halachas. Omer Rav Yosef hanetartim mili Omer Rav b'sfarim v'tanya tiyuftei. He said two halachas and we slugged him up. We had a pirch on him. So we're holding on Daf Lamed on Mid Aleph on the top. Idoch, what's the second thing that Rav said that we had a pircha? The Omer Rav. HaKoysev Sefer Torah u'bo ligmor. Somebody writes a Sefer Torah and he wants to finish the final pasuk. Goimer va'afilu be'emtza hadaf. He can finish it even though he's in the middle of the column. So Rav says you can finish, it doesn't matter where in the column you are. You don't have to be all the way in the bottom. Like in nowadays, if you look at the Sefer Torah, it's always the last line. Meisvei. HaKoysev Sefer Torah b'lo ligmor be'emtza hadaf kederech shegoimer b'chumashim. He shouldn't finish like he finishes Bereishis Shmois Vayikra, Ela Mekatzev V'hoylech Hatzof Hadaf. You look in Rashi, you'll see the diagram. Mekatzev V'hoylech, he goes like an upside down pyramid until he reaches the bottom of Leinei Kol Yisrael. So it's a kash on Rav. Kiko Amar Rav B'chumoshim. L'chor, it seems like it's talking about an individual chumash. In those days they would make, Bereishis by itself. Shmois, it wasn't a Sefer Torah, it was a chumash. So he said you can finish off in the middle. But he says Mefurish Sefer Torah. Sefer Torah. So now he's going back. No, we're talking about a Sefer Torah. He said you could do 4 out of the 5 chumashim, you could finish in the middle of the page. But the final dvarim, that has to be on the bottom. Everybody agrees you have to finish on the bottom. Ini v'omer Rabbi Yeshua bar Abba omer Rav Gidol omer Rav le'eni kol Yisrael b'emtza hadaf. It says Mefurish, the Rav says le'eni kol Yisrael. It's the final chumash. There's no way out of this. It's b'emtza hadaf. Says the Gemara, so we have to taka bimagia, not a tchak in the pshat. It's a mistake, sort of. B'emtza hadaf doesn't mean b'emtza hadaf. We have to literally take out the word daf and put in shita. It means Rav said in middle of a line. You can finish in the middle of the line. In other words, you go all the way down to the bottom of the page. Le'eni kol Yisrael. Yisrael could be not at the end of the line. It could be in the middle of the line. Now, it's a shayla how to learn this Gemara, but the pashtus is that here comes a machlokes in what Rav said. Because until now, we don't have such a tiyufta. The Gemara said it was 2 tiyuftas on Rav, and we could say, no, at the end of the day, we could be doichik. So why did the Gemara say it was a tiyufta? Because the Maisa, it's not so geshmak, we have to force it in. Over here, we're going to see that it might be a big kashan on Rav, if we hold that this is a machlokes in what Rav said. It could be these are separate shitas. But let's assume that it flows. There's machlokes here. Rabbanan Amri av be'emtza shita. Rabbanan say that the worst thing is be'emtza shita, finishing in the middle of a line. So in other words, that's pashut that you can finish in the middle of a page. They're saying even in the middle of a line you can finish. It's a chiddush that we didn't have until now. They hold that finishing in the middle of a line, not finishing up the whole line, that's worse than finishing in the middle of the page. But they hold avada you can finish in the middle of a page. That's no shayla in the middle of a page. Even in the middle of the line, according to Rav l'chayra. Rabashi Omar be'emtza shita dafka, not in the middle of the page, but you can finish up in the middle of the line, and it's bedafka should finish off in the middle of the line. V'hilchasa be'emtza shita dafka. So the halacha is that you don't finish up in the middle of the page, you finish up in the middle of the line, and it's on purpose that you finish in the middle of the line. You don't finish all the way at the end.
Why?
I don't know. It looks better. It is better. I don't know.
So who says the dafka that you finish in the middle of the line?
That's what it says, dafka. What does the word dafka mean?
Dafka as opposed to the middle of the page.
L'chayr dafka means over here, I would think, and I think that's how we do it, right? Menachos, that's how it's finished in the middle of the line. They could schlep it out if they want. They could make the words bigger and drag it and make it. It's dafka in the middle of the line. You'll see Rabbi Schoenberg had brought last night a bunch of these tikkuns and photocopies of Sefer Torah that are 1,000 years old. Some of them are like Rashi's picture here. Some of them are double Rashi. In other words, it's a real pyramid, and then an upside down pyramid on top of the real pyramid, like all these things, and he had all these Sefer Torah that the kids, they all finished. Just to finish at the they didn't have tikkuns.
Yeah, they didn't have.
I know, but you see that it was bedafka. It went literally like this.
Because they didn't have
Because
the
they had a
plane.
tikkun to guide them.
They didn't have the Amudim plane the way they are today.
Oh, that
So
for
they
sure.
never knew how they're going to get to the end of the last.
I don't know if you guys saw. I was at the sefer that did my son's tefillin. They have it already printed, and he puts it underneath the cloth with a fluorescent, and it shines through, and he just puts the ink right on top of what he sees. There's no way for him to make a mistake. He can't skip a word. It's weird.
Usually they have it in front of them, underneath.
Underneath mamish, he's doing it like it looks like any kid could do it. I mean, obviously we can't, but and then it's perfect. You're not making big words small. You don't have any reish. You know those reishim that go like half the page.
He probably has a very good style, but everyone's so small from the way it is.
And it comes out mamish perfect.
That's why.
He doesn't have a reish that goes six letters. It's
By the way, the reason why it finished in the middle of the line, it could be is because it's supposed to show you that you never finished. Like,
oh,
that's
never finished.
This has nothing to do
That's what he wanted to hear from me, but he didn't get it.
This
Okay.
has nothing to do with psichos and stumas.
that's the word.
No. There was some sort of havamina like that, but we're not talking about psichos and stumas. Yeah.
So it's not a tiyuf Rav anymore, kids.
Well, no, not if you go with Rabbon is a tiyuf to the Rav. Rav Ashi is not a tiyuf to the Rav. Omer Rav Yeshua Barabba, Omer Rav Gidol, Omer Rav. Shmoyne psukim sheba Torah, yochid koiro oisem veis hakneses. The last 8 psukim in the Torah have to be read by one person. He gets an aliyah, you have to read it from beginning to end, you can't cut it off. Today we go from Ma'in already, way before, but just know, don't do the last 3 psukim of the Sefer Torah because the 8 are one. Keman deloy Rabbi Shimon.
Maftir has to be those 8.
At least 8.
Maftir also has to be those 8.
Yeah.
Maftir doesn't read.
Alright?
Maftir reads Shmini Atzeres.
It doesn't. Yeah, there's no maftir is already. Command the Reb Shimon, the son of Yom Hashem Moshe Eved Hashem, Efsham Moshe Chai, because of Yom Hashem Moshe. How is it possible that Moshe wrote about himself that he died? It's a sheker in the Torah. It's a big problem. Ela ad kan because of Moshe. Moshe did not write those psukim according to Reb Shimon. Mekan ve'elach because of Yeshua ben Nun, the Reb Yehuda, v'amilo Reb Nechemia. Omer Reb Shimon, Efsham Sefer Torah chosar isachas. Is it possible that Moshe Rabbeinu didn't complete the Sefer Torah? Moshe Rabbeinu had a complete Sefer Torah, and any Sefer Torah that doesn't have even one letter is puzzle. So certainly, if it doesn't have the pasuk that he died, it's puzzle. So how come it's called the Sefer Torah? Obviously, it had the psukim that he died. Elo, Ad kan HaKadosh Baruch Hu omer, u'Moshe kosev va'omer. Moshe Rabbeinu repeated everything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu said. Mikan ve'elach HaKadosh Baruch Hu omer, u'Moshe kosev b'dema. Moshe Rabbeinu wrote with his tears. He was very bitzar. It says he's going to die. Okay, Moshe never la alone. Vayemer lem Baruch. Baruch ben Neriah said, "Mepiv yikro Eli is called Varma Eli." He said over from Yirmiyah, "Vani kosev al sefer b'dyoy."
It's a big problem what happened here, because everyone in the world says, a lot of people say that there's a proof that it was written by men. So it really messed things up.
Yeah.
Until it's a big problem. A lot of people
So,
say that the Torah was
when we learned Bava Basra,
from a thing like this.
so we learned Bava Basra.
They say that it wasn't God who wrote it.
There's Baruch Hu,
Yeah, they're not learning Gemara. They don't take it seriously. They don't take what
You want to hear a beautiful shot?
the Bible.
That what?
That it was written by man.
Because what?
Because it says that Moshe died. Moshe could have never written it. If you want to tell that Moshe never wrote the Torah from God, it can't be because Moshe died already. This is a proof. One of these things that people say, and no, it's a big deal. We don't know that.
Say that. Listen to a good shot. When we learned Bava Basra, look it up. I hope I remember it correctly. The Vilna Gaon says a beautiful shot here. He learns, I guess, different than Rashi. Rashi says bedema with his tears. The Vilna Gaon learns bedema is beloshen dimua, like mixed up. What happened was, and it makes a lot of sense what he's saying. He says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave the Torah, it's all written in Shemois, and it's all these letters combined. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave Moshe Rabbeinu all these letters, the last 8 psukim, was one long word. And Moshe Rabbeinu couldn't read it. He didn't know what it said. But it said in there that he's going to die. And then Yeshua came and separated the words. So he had everything in there, but Dema is Irvuvia. That's how he learns. Bidimua.
Still causes.
Akopanim, the Gemara says, Lamed like Reb Shimon. If the halacha, Reb Shimon says that it's all in there. So if it's all in there, so why does one person have to read 8 psukim? Why is it any different than the rest of the Sefer Torah? Bishloim, according to the Tanakhama, it's a separate thing. It wasn't written by Moshe Rabbeinu, it was written by somebody else. So you make sure
One person reads it.
one person reads it. But according to Reb Shimon, Moshe Rabbeinu wrote everything, so why are you so makbid on those 8 psukim? I feel the time Reb Shimon, Hoyel v'ishtani ishtani. Lemais at the end of the day it was written with tears, literally with tears. Not that he was crying, the ink was tears. Or you could say it was written in a different way. So that's why one person reads it.
You saw that? The ink was tears? You saw that somewhere?
Yeah. B'dema. I think
Not that
even
he was crying when he wrote it. But
no, it says in Rashi that he was right, but I saw that they write. Look in your things. Well, does it say anything about tears?
That's an interesting shot.
Zog the Gemara, Omer Rabbi Shua bar Abba, Omer Rav Gidel, Omer Rav, Alukach Sefer Torah min hashuk, kechoyteif mitzvah min hashuk. Kechoyteif usually means like a bad connotation. Over here it's a good thing. He's chapping mitzvahs. Kesava, if you write a Sefer Torah, Malol of Akosav Kilo Kiblei Mar Sinai,
No, it's not such a good thing. It's a lower level.
it's not a great thing,
Yeah,
but it's a good thing. It's a positive.
Positive is supposed to
Better
be
than
negative.
nothing. It's still not
No, usually choytef means like imam is like
if he would have written himself, it would have been a bigger mitzvah.
much
That's
bigger.
what he's saying. It's
Yes,
still a mitzvah.
but I'm just saying the word choytef usually doesn't mean the nicest thing. It's
It
choytef.
also doesn't mean the nicest thing.
No, over here you're saving it from the shuk.
Right, no, but it's bidiyah.
Yeah, look at Rashi. It seems from Rashi that's what it is. Mitzvah avad.
Right, but not the biggest.
I mean, it goes it's a say it's
Right.
It's a big mitzvah, fine, but it's still it's kishma. I think you're doing a mitzvah. I don't know.
The other units.
I'm saying it's a good thing. Choytev over here, I think is a good thing. No, he's learning it for a bad connotation.
It's a good thing.
Kesovi malo bakosav kilu kibli mar Sinai. I saw it written down. I forgot who wrote. So I think it was the Rishonim that write that if you go through the labor of writing and paying and then he writes even paying a sofer, it's so hard and you have to go and be on top of him. Kilo you got it from Mar Sinai.
Let's write a Daf Sefer Torah.
Omer Rav Sheshes, I was thinking last night, I have to write a Sefer Torah with that cheat sheet on the bottom with the thing. How hard could it be? Omer Rav Sheshes, imigia afilu ois achas malov kilo kesovai. If you write one letter, it's as if you did it. Maybe that's the minhag that we have, that you write one letter all the way at the end. Whoever, there's somebody sitting here, I don't know if he gives rishus. His grandfather bought a Sefer Torah in Europe, and they had a family Sefer Torah for years, and they found out recently that it was from a town that they had bad soifrim over there. The soifrim were Michal Shabbos, and women were writing, and they were writing on Shabbos. One of the reasons, one of the ways they chapped it is because all the way at the end, it was perfect. They didn't let anybody write the end. It wasn't like somebody hired a soifer and everybody at the end. Usually the end of the Sefer Torah is all messed up because unprofessionals. But over there it was a factory. They just kept on making Sefer Torahs. They just finished it up and they sold it off to Americans. Yeah, Zog the Gemara. What?
Buried that.
Yeah, it could be. You have to ask the guy if they buried it. You have to bury. What?
You were a bit.
So you can't use it anymore?
No, they're burying it.
They're burying it.
You want to say the Torah?
Not this one. My other grandfather. One of them left, and my grandfather was left.
Not this one.
Wow.
Simon Seglam. Tana Rabbanon. Oisadim Yiriyo mebasholish dapim val bashmoine dapim. So you have a piece of parchment. You could put 3 rows. The minimum is 3 rows, right? That's what everybody says. People are actually watching. 3 rows to 8 rows.
Hey, hello.
The most you could put, the most rows you could have is 8. I guess this is is that why we do Hagbah 3? Because that's the minimum? Okay, whatever it is.
What is it?
Rows. How many rows per piece of parchment? 3 columns. The max, 8 columns. Now, let's say you have a piece of parchment that holds 3 normal columns. You decide you want to put in 6. Don't do that. Let's say they'll be like narrow, like Rashi, like we have Rashi. Really narrow. You ever saw narrow Sefer Torah? No. Don't do it. It looks like a letter. It doesn't look nice. Let's say you could fit in 3 columns, and you decide to put 2, or let's say one giant
We're
column.
talking about each parchment now,
No.
Lo yabe b'dapim.
Dapim is it means columns. It looks like an
You
Igeris.
just told us that before.
No, we're talking about narrow. Don't make them narrow. Don't make the columns narrow because it looks like Igeris. Or too wide. And don't make it very wide. What does that mean? If you have a very wide column, so you're going to go here, and when you get to the end, you don't know where to start. Like your eyes are going to be looking for the beginning, and it's a baya. You're not going to have a flow. Ella, so what do you do? The Mishpach Yisechem is 10 letters. So you do it shalish pamim. So you should have an average of 30 letters, maybe with 2 spaces in between, but 30 letters per column. I don't know how that works out today. I'm sure it's pretty similar. Let's say you have a very large piece of parchment. We said the max in a piece of parchment should be 8. This one could contain 9. What do you do? Don't divide it 3 and 6. It makes a lot more sense to have spaced out properly 4 and 5 rather than 3 and 6. Seems like from Rashi that if you have, you're all the way at this end of the sefer, so you could take one pasuk and take that pasuk and go down the entire line. Take each word, make it giant until you have 12 lines on the last 12 lines, the 12 words in the last pasuk. Make it a whole column out of 12 words. Says the Gemara, pasuk echad sokadeitoch. How does it work? It wouldn't look good. It's not possible. El ema posuk echad b'daf echad. So what was the havamina? Posuk echad sokadeitoch. El ema posuk echad b'daf echad. Oh, so the havamina was that it should be in the entire Yeriya. Now we're saying in one column it could go, and that's Rabbi Schoenberg brought me. He had a picture last night of this exact thing in a Sefer Torah. They got stuck with one pasuk. So they did these giant words, Le'einei, Kol, Yisrael, and it filled up the whole column. It wasn't Le'einei, Kol, Yisrael, it was Le'einei, one word, underneath it, Kol, Yisrael. And that's how they filled up the column. Shir Gilyon, what's the margin on the side? Milamato Tefach. The bottom part has to have a blank of 1 tefach. Milamalo sholish is boys, and on top 3 it's boys. Ubein daf ledaf kimloy revach shtei it's boys. It should be 2 finger widths between column and column. By the way, this is a big shaila. I don't know how they do it, and I have to ask my father because he has a Sefer Torah. But his Sefer Torah does not have a tefach on the bottom. The little baby Sefer Torahs. They actually Shanstein had this $100,000 Sefer Torah that the whole Sefer Torah was the 1 tefach tall. It was on tefillin. It was like this small, $100,000. The guy wrote. So how do you have these shiurim? I don't know. Maybe it's like relative to the size of the oisias. I don't know. Weiß nicht. Ubechumashim milamata sholish it's boys, milamala shtei it's boys. Now, if you're only writing a chumash, bereshis, individual, so on the bottom all you need is 3 fingers, on the top 2 fingers. Ubein daf ledaf kimiloi revach reichav gudol. Over here it says mufurish, the thumb. So that would mean that the other times that it says etzba is referring to the actual etzba. A lot of times when the Gemara brings etzba, as in terms of a measurement, a lot of times it means the thumb. Over here, because the Gemara says thumb, obviously the other places are not the thumb. Ubein shita l'shita k'mlei shita. And in a regular Sefer Torah, between every line, there has to be a distance the size of a line. Ubein teva l'teva, what's the distance between a letter and a letter, a word and a word? Kimeloi ois ktana, the size of a yud. Ubein ois la'ois, and a letter, kimeloi chut asayra. As long as they're not touching each other, that's enough space. Al yimayit odom es aksav lo b'nei revach shel mato. Now, a person is writing. Let's say each letter is a half an inch tall. He's writing. All of a sudden, he realizes he's running out of space. So what he could do is 2 things. He could continue into the margin. It's a little ugly. He has a blank, beautiful margin. All of a sudden he goes into the margin. Or he could start going from a half inch to a 1/4 inch, and he'll start small letters. That's mamash ugly. That's really not nice for Sefer Torah. So al yimayit odom es aksav. He shouldn't make his handwriting smaller. Lo b'nei revach shel mato, v'lo b'nei revach shel malo, v'lo b'nei revach shel ben shita l'shita, v'lo b'nei revach shel ben parsha l'parsha. In all these cases, if you get stuck and you don't want to go into the next parsha, you can't do that.
Better to go
into the margin.
even if you don't take away from that amount. that you spent
Right.
that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not makiv, those years.
It's better than going with the smaller ksav.
Or is it only if you have more than that amount of space?
It's not. It doesn't pass, I guess, that margin.
Or is it saying only if you have more than that amount, that shear that the Gemara is telling you?
I don't think so. I don't think that. So you agree with him that's talking about instead of 2 etzbais, it has 5 etzbais and he's going into the thing.
You didn't go into, you didn't write this part. So if you go into that, then you have to.
Oh, then the next one over.
That over.
Okay. But I don't think it's ma'akev. So, all right. Nizdam lo teva bas chomesh oisius. He has a 5-letter word. Lo yichtov shtayim b'soich hadav v'sholish chutz l'daf. He shouldn't do 2 and 3 in the margin. Elo sholish b'soich hadav u'shtayim chutz l'daf. So you should have 2 letters in the daf. So if you're allowed to have, or not allowed, but it's okay to have 2 letters in the daf. Nizdam lo teva b'shtei oisios. So now, if I'm telling you you have a 5-letter word, take 2 of the letters, put them in the margin. So what if the whole word is 2 letters? Can I put a 2-letter word in the margin? No, that you can't do. So you should start from the next line. Some people's taina that it means that he already started. What is choyzev v'koyzev? Like he's redoing something that he didn't do before. The way we're learning is they just start over. Don't write it over there. Write it on the bottom. It seems like he already started, or that it's a 5-letter word, but it looks like 2 words. There's a different pshat in here. But akopanim pashup pshat. Take your 2-letter word and put it on the next line. Hatayu b'shem. We have a big machlokes here. Erev Rosh Hashanah, way to finish off the year. Maybe it's Yeshua Aaron Price himself. Send us some coffee, Yeshua. Hatayu b'shem. He made a mistake with Shem Hashem. In other words, he filled in the pasuk. There's a pasuk, and there's no Shem. He realizes, he forgot Hashem's name. Goyrer, first sheet is Goyrer is Mashikosav. He should erase the word. He should erase the word that he already wrote. V'toila is Mashigorar, and put in Hashem's name in a normal, in the line with all the other words. And what do you do with the word that you erased? That suspend above the line. In other words, he says it's not nice to put Hashem's name hanging somewhere. Put that word that you put in instead of Hashem's name, put that hanging. Because of Hashem al makom agror, and you write Hashem's name where you erased. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda. Tosfos points out that it seems like these shitas go in order of preference. So this is the best way to do it. Erase, put Hashem's name in a proper place, put the word above it. Rabbi Yossi Omer, not as good. Af toilin is Hashem. Don't erase anything. Just write Hashem's name above the word.
Now you see it's on makiv, the shear before.
Because then you don't have between line and line. So I'll say, I'll be doichik and say, punkti has double. That's what you said before. Rabbi Yisrael Goymer, af moichik v'koisev. You could erase and write. That what? I think it means when the ink is still wet. So this is, the best way to erase is when you wait for the ink to dry up, you erase, it comes off clean, and then you have a nice dry, clean, you can't even tell sometimes that there was something written there. If the ink is wet and you start smudging it, you mess up the cloth a little bit. But he says you can do that as long as you're allowed to smudge it and write the name in
He's
there.
not saying which shita he's agreed. I mean, he could
Right,
like
but
either one.
yeah, but once you're moichek, you're putting Hashem's name in the proper place. Then you suspend the other one. There's no reason now. Once
Suspend the other one.
right, you suspend the other word. Right, he's just disagreeing when you do it.
Right.
With the review says it's the cleanest. You do it the cleanest way. He says you don't have to be so clean. Reb Shimon Shizuri Omer. Now this is the cause of the whole next sugya. Reb Shimon Shizuri. We're going to bring a sheet of Reb Shimon Shizuri, and we're going to bring the halachas like Reb Shimon Shizuri, And then the Gemara wants to find out if, when we say that halacha is like Shemesh Shizuri, is this the main case of where we say that halacha is like Reb Shemesh Shizuri everywhere in Shas? But was it said in this exact case? And the Gemara says no. Agapanim, this is what triggers the whole next sugya. Reb Shemesh Shizuri yomer kol Hashem kuloi toilim miktsosei ein toilim. In other words, you could have Hashem's name on top of a word, but make sure it doesn't dip into the row, into the shura. Okay, it's not nice. Either it's nice and flat on top of the row, but don't go like, sometimes people have an extra word, it starts dipping, they start doing things. Don't do that. Now, what about other words? Certainly other words you can't do. But even Shem Hashem where you're stuck, you can't do it. Reb Shimon ben Elazar Omer Mishum Reb Meir Ein Kosev Hashem Lo Yamekom Magror V'Lo Yamekom Machak. You can't fix it. You're done. You can't suspend him above. That was Yeshua. He came. Seriously, yeah.
That makes sense. Nobody's watching.
It was boring. So what does Rameir say? You take the cloth and you throw it out. You have to get rid of it. Now it doesn't necessarily mean you take the whole cloth and throw it out. You take whatever row, column that the Shem is in, that you throw out. So if it's on the last row, you cut out the whole last row and you're left with whatever you have. Let's say you have last column. Let's say you have 5 columns. You realize that the middle, the fourth one is missing Hashem's name. Take a scissors. You cut off the 2 columns. Now you're left with 3. You're good. Shouldn't be left with 2. 2 is no good. Zog the Gemara. Itmar. Rav Chanan Omer Rav Halacha Toilim Hashem. The halacha is, according to Rav, that you're allowed to suspend Hashem's name above the word. Rav Chanan Omer Rav Yitzchok Bar Shmuel Halacha Moichek V'Koisev. Like Rav Yehuda. The halacha is you have to erase and you put Hashem's name in there. V'lei Memar. What? Sorry. What did I say? Rav Omer Rav Yitzchok Bar Shmuel Halacha Moichek V'Koisev. V'lei Memar Halacha Kemar. Why doesn't he just say the halacha is like Rabbi Yossi? Umar halacha Kemar and the halacha is like Rabbi Yitzchok. He should say the names. Why does he say the whole halacha? Mishum nafchilu. There's some brises that bring the names in reverse. They want to say no. The halacha is your toilet. The halacha is your moichek. Whatever it is. Omar Rav Bachinino Omar Ula. Here it goes. Says Rav Bachinino.
If you said the names for correct, you would still get the right halacha.
No, you wouldn't, because they're both saying opposite halachas. One says toilet, one says moichek.
Who said they're not arguing? Who said that moichek just means...
No, toilet. Toilet means you put Hashem's name on the top. Moichek means you put it on the bottom. Amar Reb Chanina halacha Reb Shimon Shizuri. The halacha is like Shimon Shizuri, that if you have Hashem, don't dip it into the row. It should be suspended nicely on top. V'layoid elakol mokum sheshona Reb Shimon Shizuri halacha kemoisa. Anywhere that Reb Shimon Shizuri says something, the halacha is like him. Hayo. Where did he say this halacha? If this was said in our sugya, l'may nafkimina? No nafkimina really, because halacha is like Reb Shimon Shizuri everywhere. It doesn't matter. But where did it originate? Stop for fun. The Gemara is now going to go through Shas, all different sugyas. Reb Shimon Shizuri said halachas. Reb Shimon Shizuri oimer kol Hashem kulei toilim miktsosei ein toilin. He said it in our sugya. And on that, Omer Rav Chanan Omer Rav halacha toilim is Hashem. Rav Chanan Omer Rav Yitzchok Bar Shmuel halacha moichek v'koisev. V'misa hunami leima. At the end of the sugya, when we had 2 shitas, what halacha is, they should have brought a 3rd shita. The halacha is like Shimon Shizuri, that you suspend it, but make sure it doesn't dip into the line. No, it doesn't say it, doesn't mention. You have 2 other shitas and you don't have a Shimon Shizuri, and we actually pass like Shimon Shizuri. Doesn't make sense that he's not brought down. So it can't be in our sugya. That's not where he was. It happens to be the halacha is like Shimon Shizuri in our sugya, but that's not where this concept that the halacha is like him in all Shas originated. So let's try. We're going to try a bunch of different halachas. It was very interesting. Yesterday, my son Aaron was telling me the halacha that some interesting case. The case of Ben Pekua, that if you have an animal, you shechted an animal, you opened up the stomach of the mother, you find a live baby, you're allowed to eat that baby without shechita. You're allowed to shoot the baby and eat the baby. So some guy in Australia, he says, he showed me an article. A guy in Australia says, according to Shimish Rizuri, there's a machlokes. Only in the 8th month, or even a ben kayama. Some people say only in the 8th month. It's not a ben kayama. Some people say even in the 9th month. But if it jumps up, gets up and starts walking around, you can't eat it anymore. Shimish Rizuri says even 5 years old, an adult cow, you walk over it, kill it, eat it. You can eat all its ivarim, everything. There's no gedanosha. There's no problem with anything. So a guy in Australia came with an invention. He took this 5-year-old cow, and he took a female and a male, and he made a farm, and they're all ben pekuas, and they have, because there's no problem with trephis, there's no problem. You could have bad lungs, bad heart, you could eat the gedanosha, it's geschmack, you could eat the back part, the front part, there's no problem. So he showed me this article. The punkt happened to be that yesterday I learned this Gemara. I said, I can't believe it. Like 10 minutes after he showed it to me, here it is. There's not even Mechai, there's nothing. Because it's Yerechimoy. The mother had, if you don't want to die while you're eating its leg, you better kill it. But yeah, there's no Yerechimoy. He tied it that there's also no fleishiks, which didn't make any sense at all. They could eat it with how does that make sense? It just means that it's considered an aver of the mother. But the aver of the mother is still fleishiks. Fine. What? No, we have 7 minutes. So, okay. I have a clock. We're almost done. Says the Gemara, Afilu ben chomesh shanim v'chorish basadai, a viable cow. Shchita simur mitahartoi, the mother shchita is enough, you don't have to shecht him. Hoyitmar lo, ziri omar Reb Chanina, halach Reb Shimon shezuri. V'miso, hunami leima, it should say, Rav bar Chanina omar ula. Halach Reb Shimon shezuri. So it can't be over there. That wasn't the original. Zeiri Omar Reb Chanina, it should say Rav bar Chanina Omar Ula, because that's the original memory is Rav bar Chanina Omar Ula Omar Chanina Allah Reb Shimon Zuri v'lo yoid ela. Where did that originate? It should have said it over there. Okay, another halacha. Somebody that's tied to chains, basically they're about to kill him. He's going to the, what is it called?
Gallows.
The gallows. He said everything besides one very important fact. He said, write a get to my wife. Okay, but he didn't say give it to her. So usually if a person doesn't say give, it's nothing. Over here we say, since he's so tired, he realizes what's about to happen to him, he forgot to say those words. We have to assume that's what he meant. In those days when they were traveling, it was very difficult. They didn't want their wives to remain agunois. Occasionally they would write a get, and he forgot to say no, but that's what he meant. He was like, he's going crazy. He's about to go on this dangerous journey. He forgot to say the words. Reb Shimon Shezuri, on someone that's very ill, he gives a get to his wife. Obviously he meant to say tnu, give it to her. Or inami aha, about a different sugya. Trumas meiser shel demai shechazru lemekoyma. Reb Shimon Shezuri oimer af bechoil shoyalev oichle al piv. What happened here? Demai am oretz. He bought something from am oretz. The halach is on Shabbos. A guy has nothing to eat. He realizes he bought food from am oretz. He's not sure if the am oretz took trumas or meisrus. We don't know. He has nothing to eat. He's starving. L'kovet Shabbos, we allow him a one-time thing. He can go over to am oretz and say, "Hey, did you take trumas and meisrus?" If the guy says yes, he's allowed to eat it. Matzah Shabbos he can't eat anymore. For Shabbos we gave. What happens if the truma, not the meisrus, there's a way out of it. If the truma of the meiser, the kitzur nimrod, you take truma, one part we said. Meiser is 10% for the Levi. You take trumas meisers, 10% of the 10%, which is 1% of the whole produce, goes to the kohen again. That fell back into the pile, you have no idea where it is. Now it could be a big loss for the guy that bought all the fruit, because he can't eat it, and the only way out of it is to sell to a kohen. So we say, Shimon Shezuri says, we'll give you a break. Ask the am haaretz if he took meisrus, if he took trumas meiser. If he says yes, then your truma was nothing, says Rashi. Because once truma was taken, you have no right to take truma again. So what you took is zero, it fell back into the pile, nothing fell back into the pile. Don't worry about it, you can eat the whole pile. Av bechoil, this halacha that you could ask Amoritz on Shabbos applies over here even in the weekday. Shoyaloi v'oichloi al piv v'itmar Allah, and we said Omar Rabbi Yochanan halacha Rabbi Shimon Shizuri b'mesukon u'b'trumas ma'aser shedmai v'misa hunami leima. It should say over there, not that halacha is like Shimon Shizuri. It should say Omar Raven bar Chinina, Omar Ula, Omar Rabbi Chanina halacha Rabbi Shimon Shizuri. It doesn't say it over there. Elaha Rabbi Yosef ben Kiva Omer Mishum Rabbi Shimon Shizuri Poila Mitzri Shizuri Lezera. If you have a bean, an Egyptian bean. Now, what is kidneys usually? What does kidneys mean? We're going to learn. Everybody just walked in there. Kidneys. Kidneys means when you eat the actual seed. Anytime you eat the actual seed. A bean is the seed that you put in the ground. You eat that, that's kidneys. The halacha is that when you have a kidneys, you view it by the time it took root, not by the time that it sprouted. So this Poila Mitzri, you could eat it for two reasons. You could eat it because you want to eat the bean itself, or you could eat it for the greens that come out of it. The greens are not what you plant, so the greens are not kidneys. The greens would have halacha of vegetables. The kidneys part, the bean itself, has halacha of when it takes root. So therefore, we have a problem here. You can't take truma from one year on the other. So if Mamish in Yonah D'Yoma, Lifnei Rosh Hashanah, look at this. Mamish, the last words we're learning Lifnei Rosh Hashanah. It happened before Rosh Hashanah. Noam, you're going to come up with something here. Lifnei Hishrish, he became Mushrish in Yiddishkeit before Rosh Hashanah. U'miksasei Achar Rosh Hashanah. Ein Tomer Mizalzeh. So he has a major problem. He has a big pile. Part of it is from Tavshin Ayin Ches. Part of it took root in Tavshin Ayin Tes. And now he wants to take Truma and he can't. He doesn't know where to take it from. So this is the Eitzah. He takes a whole big pile, and Rashi says, Ma'arvin Yafa, he mixes it all up perfectly. Now when it takes Truma, unbelievable. The exact amounts, let's say 90% of his crop is from Tavshin Ayin Ches, 10% is from Tavshin Ayin Tes. When he mixes it up properly, and then he takes Truma, and in his hand he has 90% Truma from Ayin Ches, 10% from Ayin Tes, and it's perfect. And it says, it should say, says that and it doesn't say it, and we're going to continue tomorrow Be'ez Hashem with other sugyas to figure out where was the original. 7:20.